How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at MaXXXine. This came out July 5th, 2024, and is the third film in the X franchise. The franchise was created by Ty West, and once again, he is writing and directing this film. And also, like the past two films, we once again star Mia Goth. This time around, we also have Giancarlo Esposito and Kevin Bacon. And overall, I thought this film was pretty good, but it is a case of you gotta know what you're getting in for going into it. And I do like all three of the X films have had a distinct and different flavor. X was very Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Pearl was back in time with a really deep character study, and now we get this movie that's very much about the seedy 1980s underbelly of Los Angeles. And I think that's pretty cool, but again, if you go in here expecting Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's not exactly what you get. I think the most apt comparison would be this is like Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood crossed with Wes Craven's Scream, which is a pretty interesting combination, and it really does a lot of cool and interesting things. It's always good to see MaXXXine back, and she is really hardened and tough this time around. Someone that had to not only deal with the events of X, but also survive in Hollywood. Very, very tough character. And she's being chased around by who they think might be the Night Stalker, but it might be a unique killer coming after her who somehow knows about the events of X. It's a cool killer, very Giallo style with the black gloves and the black hat and everything. And I do like the horror element. I do just kind of wish there was more of it. You know, you see a city, a grungy city with a Giallo killer, you might be expecting something as crazy as New York Ripper. And when it does the horror element, it does it really well. There's some pretty gnarly scenes in this, but my kind of problem with it is, you know, being such a big horror fan, is it does get distracted kind of by the mystery element and just the setting of Hollywood. And Hollywood is an interesting setting, but I feel the movie can kind of get lost in, you know, just trying to capture this atmosphere. But the Hollywood angle is very intense and very serious, and it does soak up a lot of this movie's runtime. And same with the mystery. And the thing with the mystery is I don't feel the mystery was the strongest element here. Like, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, okay, the only person that would really make sense to be the killer is this person. And sure enough, it was, you know, my first guess. And because the killer's supposed to be a mystery, we do get a lot of time with Kevin Bacon, who's this private investigator working for the killer. And he's an interesting character. I mean, he's Kevin Bacon. He's great, but he's not the main bad guy, and I kind of wish he was with how much screen time he's given. He's cool, but he's ultimately an aside, and I do kind of wish that plot structure was ironed out a little better. And I will say it does build to a fun finale, but that being said, in the finale, we see the villain's motivation, and it's something that's a big horror cliche that I'm definitely tired of, and I wish we could just take this cliched motivation and just put it away for a little while, because we've seen it. It's done, you know. I'm cool. We can do something else now. So overall, when it is being a horror movie, it is really intense, it is good, and it definitely has some gut-wrenching moments, and it is cool to see MaXXXine again. Overall, what it does well, it does really well. It's just, you gotta know going in that it does focus on the mystery angle, which isn't necessarily the strongest, and it also does get kind of stuck, you know, in this, ooh, look, we're in Hollywood, which, I mean, is kind of the point of the film. It's just one that's good, you know. I mean, I would say this is the weakest of the X trilogy, and it's still not bad, you know. So I still say go see it. Just know what you're getting in for and expect it to be different. It's still good. I mean, none of these films are bad. It's fun. It's just, I kind of wish they had focused in a few other areas. I wish it was more New York Ripper than it was. Overall, though, it's still good. I don't want to complain too much, but I just, as a horror fan, wanted more horror, Overall, though, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot. I do want to break down and analyze a few scenes and dig in a little deeper. I know people with new movies are super sensitive to spoilers, and I will say I won't cover the end and I won't try to spoil too much, but if you want to go in not knowing much, feel free to pause the video here and then come back after you've seen the movie. But without further ado, let's dig in a little deeper. We open up seeing where MaXXXine is today, and she's successful in the adult film world, but she hasn't really been able to break out beyond that. So she's an adult star, but not really a movie star, and she wants to pivot her career to being in non-adult movies, but there's a bit of a stigma behind her because people don't want an adult film star in their movies. Well, she auditions for a role in the movie The Puritan 2, which is a slasher horror movie talking about the world of the 50s not being as bright as they portray it to be. And the director's like, "You've got it. I like you. I'm gonna fight to get you in the movie," but there's this, the producers aren't super happy about it, but I say horror is already being stigmatized, so if people don't like you anyway, you might as well do what you think is right. And we'll get several talks about, from the director about how serious she's taking the movie and how particular she is and how you need to put it before everything else, being super Stanley Kubrick-esque, and she's really, really intense to the point where I'm like, okay, Ty West, you wrote this movie and you're directing it. Is that how you see other directors? Is that what you feel like you're like? I don't know. Again, Kubrick level of intensity, and it is cool to see the backlot and stuff. I think is in the trailer, but you do see the motel from the Psycho movies. That was pretty fun. And you do get things like Giancarlo Esposito being her agent, and he has a really cool place where his plot ends. We also get to check in on MaXXXine's life and her friends. She has, I think she lives above a video rental shop, and she's friends with the clerk there, and he's kind of like Jamie Kennedy's character from Scream. And you also have all these other adult film stars she's friends with, and they kind of want to party while she wants to just work as much as she can for as long as she can. And we do get, when they find out she's going to be in a movie, one of them says, "Oh, I didn't know you could act." So some funny humor there. But eventually her friends start to get picked off, and we do find out that this killer somehow knows about the events of X. And the thing with that is, I'm like, MaXXXine, if you had just told the police it was in self-defense, you probably could have gotten off, but she of course ran off. I guess the idea of this is before the internet, so they may have seen her face, but if these small-town Texas cops don't know their adult entertainment, how are they going to track her down? Well, there's these two cops that insist they help her, and the cops are fun enough characters. One of them wanted to be an actor, so that's kind of funny. But we do get these two cops, and they're trying to get her on board, and she's not wanting to get in trouble for X, and she's also just doesn't trust the police and wants to do it herself. And we do get to see her in her hardened heart just wanting to attack and get this killer, but she doesn't know who the killer is. And, it is kind of, a good way to define her when she wants to just challenge this person. And we do get to see, like, there's this scene where she meets some guy in an alley that has nothing to do with it. But let's just say she gets to take out her frustration on someone in a truly gut-wrenching scene there. But eventually, Kevin Bacon, working for the killer, will show up and start to taunt her, probably overstep his boss's bounds, and Kevin Bacon's fun. Again, I wish he was a little more connected. They should have just found a way to make him the bad guy, because he is the bad guy for most of this movie. It's fun to have Kevin Bacon chasing her around, but again, not super related to anything, really. And then we do build, again, to a fun finale piece. It's kind of sucky that the villain's motivation is so cliched, but when we do get to the end, things go big, things go crazy, things go over the top, and that really is what I like. So overall, MaXXXine is a cool movie. It's one that I do wish was a little better and a little more horror focused, but I don't want to complain too much because it is fun, and when you go in knowing what to expect, like, I think this movie will definitely be one that's better on a rewatch once you can kind of understand what it is and go into it with the right headspace. Overall, I really do like the X trilogy. I don't think there's a bad one here, and I think it's got some really cool moments, and I don't know if this is going to be it and we're going to cap it off here, or if we're going to try and do an X movie for every single American decade. That might be fun. I think some people are wondering if he's going to make the Puritan movies real or not. But anyway, I think it's fun. Just know what to expect. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my 2024 movies playlist, where you can see me talk about other movies that came out this year. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.